Hello everyone, it is me here, Journey, back with another video. So our guest will be here shortly later. At least that's what the message he said. Before I talk about the first topic, which you see on screen, is in regards to the next Transformers content we will be getting. I'm gonna address some technical difficulty stuff. So originally I was on Windows 10, and then with the changes that were happening with Windows 10 no longer having uh, customer service, I had to switch to Windows 11. I'm sure you noticed that in my previous video that there was some odd changes to volume. I'm still trying to learn how the entire audio settings work in regards to Windows 11. So this will be actually my first stream while using Windows 11. If there are like technical difficulties you notice, let me know in the comment section or live chat because I will be looking through the stream either later today or I don't know, maybe tomorrow or in the next few days to figure out what solutions I can use in regards to audio and various things like that. So let's get into the first topic. So this is my deadline. I can confirm that this is true since I have seen multiple sites say this. So the Energon universe now, do not get that confused with, I think there was a series in the many years ago called Transformers Energon. It's not the same continuity. Energon universe, I refers to a comic line. The title says Energon Universe, adult anime series based on comics from Hasbro and Skybound with Joel Henderson as showrunner hitting TV marketplace. So I think this is the guy from is it Invincible? Right, it's that series with the blue suited guy, blue and yellow suited guy, and he interacts with the one guy with the white suit and whatever that red symbol is on the chest. So I think he's the showrunner. It says Robert Kirk Scott Entertainment teamed up with Hasbro Entertainment, Energon Universe, Joe Henderson, who's worked, I guess, on Lucifer. It's by family friendly. Joe and Transformers will be probably adults sensibility. Yeah, Invincible, which is hitting Prime Renew for season 5 ahead of season 4. So, I don't know how exactly that would work. Like, I know I've never seen the Invincible series. I only know it's like very what's the word? Violent. I know that there's a lot of like in regards to the combat. However, I don't know how that exactly that's supposed to work in regards to Transformers because Transformers run on Energon. So like in a robot versus robot battle, Energon is it's blue, right? Energon's usually blue unless you're dealing dark Energon, which is purple. So the audiences can handle that. It's just since they want to incorporate G.I. Joe characters, and this is by the creator Invincible. Are we saying that we're gonna see like Decepticons open fire on like civilians and Joe characters, like that's the only way I can see it reaching violent level of like invincible. And let's see, attached server showrunner. I have no idea what Void Rivals is. However, I don't know. Does this say Hasbro Entertainment? Yeah, I don't know. Let me check this article. Like, does this say? I'm like skimming through it. I don't know if it says. Yeah, like, I don't know if it says where exactly. Like, sure, yeah, he's on loose. He's worked on loose for. Yeah, I'm like skimming through this. I don't see it's where it says like if it's gonna be on Amazon Prime or if it's gonna be on like HBO Max or yeah, if Hasbro even has their own streaming service, which I'm not even sure about. So no idea in regards to where we would see this. However, one huge concern I have is the fact that Hasbro is involved. Now, what happened with Hasbro, I if you think you've seen in the past, I have like 2 or 3 videos that was on Transformers Reactivate, right? The video game that we were supposed to get, we never got. That's due to Hasbro because Hasbro, like they have different, like Hasbro has different areas. We'll talk about Transformers because they have live action side, they have animated series side, they have video game side, and they have the toy line. Now Hasbro shut like basically shut down the movie side, they shut down the video game side, they do not supply as much money to the animated side anymore. And all that money that they stopped sending basically went to the toy line side. I've seen recent news regarding Transformers how they keep like coming out with like a bunch new uh toy line stuff. I think so. I don't really look into the toy line stuff, but it definitely seems like when we get Hasbro, when we get news in regards to Hasbro and Transformers, that's usually what we see. And I think they had a bunch of like kid-centered Transformers series released lately. However, those are like kid-centered. It's not like something like Transformers Prime that can be watched by older viewers, or would definitely also be watched by older viewers. So Hasbro having an involvement in this, if it's like more than just, hey, here's the Transformers license so you can actually make Transformers content without dealing with copyright. That better be where Hasbro's involvement is. I don't think this should be involved in this series any further because then you're just gonna see some storylines that are just way too centered for kids, and it wouldn't work in a series like this, which is from the person who created Invincible. So yeah, that aspect. Give me a moment to get the next topic on screen. Okay, so our next topic will be in regards to the announced Batman Nightfall. Now that will be a animated film that will release. Well, it's supposed to release in 2026. There may be delays. I mean, we've seen that with projects. Now, Batman Nightfall has to do with, man, it's been a long time since I saw anything regarding this storyline. But I want to say it's the storyline where uh, Batman takes on Bane. However, the fight goes south, which basically puts Batman out of commission for a while. So he gets Israel to become Batman, and that's basically all I remember of the storyline. So yeah, I don't know when we'll expect the trailer for this. All I know is that you're gonna have like two main leads, that being Batman and Israel. I don't remember if they fight at the end. Hey, Canadagraphs.
Hello, how are you?
Alright, I'm just like finishing up the
Still there? Hello? Am I there?
I apologize for that interruption. I have family and friends over here in the other room, so yeah. So sorry about that. So yeah, I was finishing up in regards to this is an animated Batman film that's releasing. At least it's supposed to release next year.
Mm.
To the Nightfall storyline with Batman and Israel. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I'm not. No, not familiar with it at all.
All right, let's go on to the next topic. I'm gonna put it on screen. Um, so I don't know if you. I know you were setting up, so I don't know if you saw it earlier. Had to switch from Windows 10 to Windows 11 because the end of service for Windows 10, and I'm still trying to figure out the audio issues. So let me know if like if my volume goes up or down or it changes in an odd way.
Okay, I'll try to. Yeah. I mean, right now it's fine. I would, if my own personal preference, I'd say it's like a fraction too loud, but it's like barely a fraction. Like it's fine.
Okay, barely a
Uh,
fraction. I'll look into it because I
yeah.
know Windows 11 somehow they have this weird setting where if you add audio, your hearing audio is different from the input from your microphone audio. I don't think I had
Mm.
that issue with Windows 10.
All
Before
right.
we get to Pacemaker, how are you doing? What have you been up to?
All right. Last night was a busy day for me. I went and got Julia Garner, who was in Weapons and Fantastic Four, the most recent one. I went and got her yesterday afternoon, and then went to a movie screening that was going on for Carrie, the 1976 one. And Mike Flanagan was there, and he brought the cast from the Carrie TV show that they just wrapped here a couple of days ago to there to introduce the film. So I was busy with that last night. So it's been a busy couple of days. Had hockey, before that. So it's been a busy couple days. It comes and goes, little waves. There'll be 2 or 3 days where it's busy, and then nothing for like a week. So it's been okay.
Alright, so before I get into like 2026 stuff regarding both DC and Marvel, we're gonna start off with Peacemaker. We're probably gonna stream for like what, another hour and 10 minutes maybe. Maybe we'll
Yep.
extra depending on topics. In regards to Peacemaker, before we go into the detailed stuff in regards to characterization, what would you say is your overall thoughts on the season?
Okay. I have a few thoughts. If you want me to give an overarching, everything included grade, I'd call it like a C plus B minus. But I do break those grades down a little more when it comes to episodes 1 to 7 and then episode 8 separate from that. 1 to 7 I'd say is more like a B plus A minus, and then episode 8 I'd say is more like a C minus. I did not enjoy the way it wrapped up, especially if that is the conclusion of the show. I don't think it was a good ending if that's the conclusion of the show. If it's not the conclusion of the show, it's just an ending. But if that's the ending for the entire series, it's a bad one.
Yeah, I never actually watched season 1. Did you watch season 1?
Yeah.
Okay, you watched season 1?
Yeah.
I think, like, overall, like, the series definitely had areas where it's like, I can see where they need room for improvement, such as how, like, how it ends up where Vigilante, not knowing what's going on in that house, he thinks they're hostiles near, and then we never see a conversation regarding that moment in the next episode. There are rush storylines like the girl that Peacemaker likes. What's her name? I forgot.
Harcourt?
Yeah.
You mean Harcourt or Amelia? Because I mean they're the same person, but what like the version we have would generally people refer to as Harcourt because she goes by her last name here, but the Earth X version goes by Amelia. So.
So, I think we'll talk about the main, like her storyline in regards to how she was an emotional mess. That's one of the storylines that could be just like stretched out more because I feel like we went from her storyline to Peacemaker wanting to know about the boat a little too quickly. And obviously Vigilante didn't get much to do. I mean, he pretty much was like the money bank.
Yeah, Vigilante really got sidetracked this year, and a lot of people have mentioned that. Like, you said you didn't really watch season 1, so like he was a much more core character in season 1. This year, he just kind of seemed to be there because he's under contract. I think it was a miss by them not having as much Vigilante in there, but at the same time, with the way the story kind of was going, there's not a lot more he could have added to what was going on. Like, I don't know where you fit him in to give him, extra screen minutes that would have made real, like, would have added to the story, He'd just kind of, again, just be there to be there. Like, a lot of the season was about personal and emotional growth. Like, there's a reason, like, Leota and Harcourt and even, like, Chris and to a lesser extent Economos, but not nearly as much. Like, Leota, Harcourt, and Chris, there was a lot of emotional and personal growth amongst them in the season, and Vigilante isn't like that. He is incapable of having those emotions, etc. So there's no growth there to be had. So his story kind of doesn't overlap with any of the stuff they were doing in that sense.
I've seen two theories in regards to vigilante while we're on the topic. I've seen people say he is a sociopath, and I've seen people say he has ADHD. Which one do you think he falls under, or do you think there's a third option?
Sociopath or psychopath. I think both of those are valid discussions. ADHD, I can see an argument for that because there are times that he'll all of a sudden just randomly bring up a thing that no one's been talking about. Like in season 1, you didn't watch it, but I did. In season 1, there's a scene where the group is talking about something. Then him and Eagly are sitting on the couch, and just randomly out of the blue, he'll be like, "Hey, which one do you guys think is Eagly, and which one do you guys think is me?" Like, completely just forgot what they were talking about 9 seconds earlier and interjected with something that had nothing to do with what's going on. So I can understand people thinking ADHD has some part with it, and it might, but that is a part of either sociopath or psychopath, whichever way you want to look at it. Personally, I would lean more towards psychopath just because of some of the choices he makes, but I think the discussion would definitely be in one of those two camps, sociopath, psychopath. I think the ADHD is just a part of whichever issue it is.
So, yeah, it definitely sounds like you being someone who's watched season 1 is leaning towards, like you said, sociopath, psychopath. Now,
Yeah.
I'm no psychology expert. Do not ask what grade I got in psychology many, many, many years ago. But now people that are like psychopaths and sociopaths, they don't actually like have real emotions. They have what can be essentially called as fake emotions. Now we've seen vigilantes show real emotion. So
you know what? Very fair. Very fair.
Does he just share traits and he's not legit?
No, that is a fair point. I don't know how to counteract that argument because it is a valid one. But ADHD by itself isn't him. Like, that is a small fraction of what he is. So I don't know where you would put him on any chart specifically. I would say he leans more towards psychopath based off of actions he does. But you are correct. He does show concern for obviously Chris and the rest of the team to some extent. But his actions would sometimes suggest that is not the case. I mean, I think another one, again, because you didn't really watch season 1, it's kind of hard for you to know, but there was a scene where they kidnap a bunch of vets at a veterinary clinic, and there's a scene where they decide they got to tie up the group, and Vigilante goes, "Oh, don't something about the tape." He's like, "Because it'll be hard. It'll hurt when they pull it off." And Economos goes to him and goes, "So you're perfectly okay with killing people, but you have a problem with them getting hurt by tape?" And he's like, "Yes." Like, just he didn't even think about the answer. He's just like, "Yeah, of course." Like, in his brain, that made sense. That is a more psychopath behavior than it is any other variation of illnesses.
Do you think before we move on to other characters, in regards to vigilante, do you think it's a case where it's just inconsistent writing, or we're just not understanding how psychopaths and sociopaths work?
I mean, you can't necessarily say it's inconsistent writing because, I mean, sure, we've got Adrian Chase and we've got Vigilante, etc. in DC overall. We had one in Arrow. I'm sure there's other variations out there. So you could say, oh, well, he doesn't match up to this version of the character. I mean, he definitely does not match up to the Arrowverse version. But this is James Gunn's version of him. So he can't screw up what is literally his version. You know, it would be like if I came out with a new show and I put a bunch of characters into the show. Nobody can sit at home and be like, oh, he's written this character wrong. Because I'm the one that decided what these characters are, you know? It's the same as Adebayo or Harcourt or Economos or any of the others. Like, he's decided how they are. They're his version of the characters. He can't necessarily screw up his version of the characters. Now, if he walked away and went to just be, CEO of the company and was like, hey, Bob, you go write this, and Bob started making changes, then you could criticize Bob for maybe straying away from what James Gunn's version was, but James Gunn can't ruin James Gunn's version. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Before we get to the other characters, let's talk about what is essentially like third tier or fourth tier characters, and that's the Argus agents, soldiers, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
During the Eagle, whatever his name is, the Eagle
Mm-hmm.
battle, that was like in episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I looked at that and I'm just like, I'm sorry, this is the Argus strike team? I think I even said it in the reaction. I was like, this is a terrible strike team. This is a strike team. Yet when they go over to Chris's house, and in like the few episodes later, right before that one tall guy is like distracting them and whatnot, you see that in like SWAT gear, they actually have the words Argus, unlike that one Arrowverse organization, what I'm talking about. They have the words Argus, so we know that they have like specific Argus gear. The public knows. Oh yes, I know those are Argus agents down there, and they're carrying like M4s and stuff. Yeah, that's the only time we see them get anywhere close to legitimate soldiers and agents. And then you got like in the final episode, you got the people in the red suits. Compared to other organizations, and in like DC or Marvel, what would you say those third or fourth tier characters are? Do you think they're handled terribly?
I think they're supposed to look incompetent. We have all seen various versions of Argus, and Argus, as you've pointed out, usually is a pretty tactically sound team. I think we're supposed to find that group, the original group with the 4 guys that get named by Flurry's character. We're supposed to find them a little incompetent. I don't know necessarily why, but it's pretty reasonable based off of that interaction from the beginning, and then just like some of the actions, laying on forward after that. You're supposed to get the idea that this is not a top quality 10 out of 10 team. And I mean, that also at the end of the day, I mean, they're hunting Eagly, who is a like skilled killer. Like he's a bird of prey. So he's not someone that's just gonna like run away and like vanish from a fight. He's gonna take the fight back to them. And I think maybe there's a little bit in there of like this was a way to show how lethal Eagly can be, as opposed to showing how incompetent they are, even though both trains of thought play out there. I think the idea was to show how badass Eagly is, and to do that, you have to make that team seem a little incompetent. And you can't just have them go in and be incompetent. You couldn't have them, being standing out there before the attack happens, having a conversation and having them sound tactical and like skilled, and then go in there and look like bumbling fools. So they kind of set up that they're not necessarily that skilled when they're having to talk with Flurry, and he's giving them all those nicknames and that. You can kind of get the sense that this isn't a tactically sound strike team, you know? So overall, yeah, those characters are kind of meant to be, butts of the joke. I think they all died except for the bald girl, whose nickname I'm not gonna say on the stream, but we know. I think the rest of them all died at some point, didn't they?
No. First, thank you for not saying the nickname that the guy gave her, because I think that would have been like just not good for the stream. So thank you for holding back on that. On this team, you said we had this black-haired tall guy. He's like, I think a head taller than the bald girl. We know
Okay.
when Peacemaker gets sent to Salvation, he's there, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You,
and you have the
I
bald
think,
girl.
yeah.
There
So
was that.
there's one that had his eye pecked out. That guy is no longer with us. Then there's the one Flurry was mocking right before he got killed in the by the nymph or imps. So that's two of the four. So you're saying the girl and one of the other guys are both alive. So two of the four.
Well, aside from the people that joined Checkmate, which is Flurry and the robot girl.
Yeah. Sasha. Or was it Sasha? It's something that starts with an S. It starts with an S. That's all I remember now.
The last thing in regards to the Argus agents, they're like third-tier characters. Now we did like the scene you mentioned with the imps, where even though that girl, at least I think it was, even that girl is literally at the end and she stays with Argus, she was like, "What the heck are you sending us into?"
Yes.
Now we know the entire sequence is about like morality in terms of organizations, because you work on this organization, your life's on the line, and then you get all corrupted. What do you think in regards to the Argus agents' thoughts on that scene, like morality wise?
I think that was a hard line on deciding who is and isn't all in on Argus and who is having second thoughts. I mean, we've seen Flurry have second thoughts earlier in the series when John got captured Chris got captured the first time by Flag, and Flag was beating the crap out of him, and Economos put him in the system to stop him from getting beaten on, and Flurry gave him, the seal of approval on that. He's like, good thing you did that. So we can see that Flurry has some morality in that. With Sasha, that kind of just came up in that very last episode. I don't remember there being a time in any of the episodes prior where I got the impression she was ready to bounce. But yeah, the rest of the team. I mean, yeah, the girl, she did say that entire sentence with like, what are you putting us in there against and all that stuff. But she obviously in the end chose to stay with Argus. I think that was a call to decide who's staying, who's going in, like, as far as the character development. Not necessarily Argus was thinking that, but like the characters as they're being written, that's the point where they're like, okay, I don't agree with this. I got to get out of here. Point, But yeah, so even though she did, state that she's, scared of what they're throwing her into, or whatever her reasoning was for saying what she said, she chose to stay with Argus.
Before we talked about Vigilante earlier, and before we get to the final group will be the 11th Street Kids. I think is that what they're called? 11th Street Kids?
Yeah.
The last character we have, honestly, to discuss, because I don't think we need to discuss Lex, would be a Flag. What are your thoughts on him?
I despise his character, but I'm supposed to not like him. Like they made him purposely be hated, right? Like you're watching the show cheering for Peacemaker and his team. And they made him so hateable that you want to reach through the screen and punch him in the face. Like they did a great job at making you hate the guy. Um, his reasons for doing what he did, I understand why he does it. I also agree with everyone that's ever talked about it, saying how selfish and like um, narrow-minded his reasoning for doing it is, and they're right. But people in angry situations make selfish, narrow-minded decisions all the time. Where that whole situation is going to lead to, who knows? Like I've heard a lot of people say this is a direct tie into Man of Tomorrow. Okay, sure, but one of the things I'm going to nitpick the show for, I have to nitpick James Gunn specifically for, is when all of the new DCU started, he came out somewhere, even maybe multiple places, like, you don't have to watch one thing to understand the next thing. And that's now a lie. You need to know about Peacemaker to understand where we're getting to in Man of Tomorrow, and vice versa, because to fully understand everything that was going on in Peacemaker, you had to have known about a couple of things in Superman. And here we are now having to do homework. We're 3 projects into his new universe, and now we got homework, I forgot where I was going. Oh yeah, about Rick Flag. They did a great job at making you hate the guy. I don't know how I feel about him as a character, except that I hate him. But hating a character doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad character. It means they made him how they needed you to see him, and that is as someone you hate. Like Lex Luthor is a character people hate too, and I think most people would agree he's also a brilliant character.
As far as I'm aware, in regards to the Salvation storyline, it's where a bunch of supervillains get hooked there, and
That's what I've been told.
End up freaking out. But it seems like what James Gunn is gonna do in Man of Tomorrow is that both Lex, Superman, and Hawkgirl are gonna be put there, as we saw in the Superman movie. She threw that one government guy down, and James Gunn, assuming he's telling the truth, said online that there will be consequences for her down the line. Now, here's what I don't want to happen. I don't want us to be in a situation where the protagonists at the end of their project are just straight up thrown into Salvation. Like we get to Lanterns, and the ending is, oh, they're thrown into Salvation. We get to the end of Supergirl, and oh, she's thrown into Salvation. That better not become a reoccurring theme, because that's just gonna get annoying. Because it basically is like, oh, I already know the ending of this series.
Well, so the one problem I really have with the Salvation thing is Flag said in his little speech, he's like, oh, they'll never know where we're coming from, blah 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 blah. And maybe that's true. But you saw how long it took them to throw Chris in there. They had to open up the door, drag him over there, put him in there, unshackle him, all that stuff. If you have Superman or Supergirl on that planet or that version, are you not telling me in the 45 seconds it took them to put Chris through there that they can't speed over to there and get out of that hole, get through that door? Are you telling me that? Is that I'm supposed to believe that? So I'm very weird to see. What's that?
Unless they have kryptonite,
which they said in Superman. In Superman, they explicitly said they don't have any. Remember, Lex's Lex said he had a workaround for that, and the workaround was the guy that can turn into things. I forget his character name.
Yeah, that's confusing considering kryptonite is literally a form of rock. It's a meteor. I doubt it was only Krypton and the meteors around it that were only kryptonite. I'm sure they have it, and Lex just is lying.
I don't know if Lex is lying, because then why would he have needed somebody else to do it for him? He literally had to get a person that could turn into kryptonite for his plan to work. If he had any sitting around hiding somewhere, he would have just used that.
Yeah, now you're right. Like, you're 100% right, but now that Ozzy creates what could down the line just be like a writing issue if in Man of Tomorrow suddenly kryptonite does appear specifically at the end to trap Superman. Because you're right, every 5 seconds he could escape. So that might be a writing issue down the line.
And then I wouldn't be surprised if it does come up somewhere down the line. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a scene in Man of Tomorrow or one of the other movies where something happens that kryptonite could have stopped, but we've already proven kryptonite doesn't exist anywhere, and all of a sudden it does. Like, I can see it happening. I do have a workaround. I have a workaround that could work. Have all the other Earths, kryptonite on one of those Earths. Maybe they go and mine one of the other Earths for their source of kryptonite.
That could work. Now we're down to the 11th Street Kids. Let's talk about Hardcore. Hardcore. Is there a D in her name?
No, it's Harcourt.
Okay, Hardcore. She has, like, in terms of her character, I think the biggest scene was where she says, "I'm a blank nightmare."
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I got from that scene, like, is, yeah, that's true for her, but that's also true for me emotionally, because, yeah, I'm not gonna get into detail, but yeah, I'm sure you've noticed that I don't stream unless someone else is here, because I'm not. It's difficult for me to show emotion because I'm someone who gets through life by being reserved. So that scene felt personal for me. What did you?
I would say if I bring up a name, I can get an emotion out of you.
Oh wow! Since we're going there, I'm sure you noticed on my channel that I addressed the situation where she was being rude to Tyler Hoechlin.
I did not. I have watched almost nothing that is like Arrowverse related in months, outside of like some reaction channels. So I don't know anything of whatever drama you might be talking about.
Hey, you brought it up.
I brought her name up. I didn't bring up that there was drama that I don't know about.
Yeah, so in regards to your thoughts on Hardcore this season, the main Earth one, not the other Earth one.
The what? Oh, the main one, not the. Okay, yeah, okay, I follow what you're saying. I mean, she's 100% right when she analyzes herself. She is a nightmare. She has been trained to kill since she was a kid. She has just done whatever she's been told all the time. Her entire life revolved around doing her job. Like, that was her life. The only emotional connection she ever seemed to have, and we didn't know that until this season, was Rick Flag Jr. In season 1, she was starting to grow some emotion towards Chris and Adebayo, and even to Economos to some degree, but she wasn't. I wouldn't say she would consider them friends yet. She would consider them maybe good acquaintances. So in season 2, when we see her with Flag Jr., that is the first time where I think anybody watching her character would say, okay, there's someone she had that was an actual friend. And she is fairly right when she talks about, like, she's a train wreck, because her entire life revolves around doing a job where your job is to go out and kill people. She doesn't have, a hobby. She doesn't knit. She doesn't, like, whatever. Like, she doesn't have additional interests in her life outside of doing her job. Um, Emotionally, I think she's come a long way this season. I mean, she showed that she has emotion and care for Chris. She's shown that with the rest of the team. Um, yeah, actually, in season 1, sorry, in season 1, I think there was a scene. She didn't show a lot of emotion, but she showed that she understood a situation at that time. So there's a scene in season 1 where Vigilante goes into a prison to try and beat up Peacemaker's dad or kill him. And when he gets released, Harcourt picks him up, and he goes into the car. He introduces himself, because up until that point he was denying that Adrian and Vigilante were the same people. And he introduces himself to Harcourt, and then he's like, I think I just made things worse. And he starts to cry a bit, and you can see she doesn't do anything like, hug him or anything like that, but she just lets him have his moment, understanding this is a problem, instead of, like, just like someone who's more emotionless would just be like, oh, okay, and just turn the engine on and drive away or something like that. She just sits there and lets him have his moment. So she does sometimes show some emotion. Um, like I said earlier, when we're earlier in the conversation, I think all of the main characters, especially Chris, Harcourt, and Adebayo, Leota, those 3 had big emotional steps forward this year. Economos definitely had some. Vigilante, maybe. But the main 3 that are on that poster that you've got on the screen right now, those 3 took big steps forward, and that includes Harcourt. So yeah.
Now, is she, like, we talked about how Vigilante is somewhere in the psychopath and sociopath, and in terms of psychology, do you think, does she have, like, a psychological label, or is she just someone who's, like,
No, she's just someone who I would call, I'd just call her damaged. Because she won't just, like, Vigilante will kill because you did graffiti on a wall. Harcourt needs a reason to go kill somebody, and that reason has always been the U.S. government tells me to do it. Very different personality from Vigilante. Yeah, I don't know what I would class her as, but it's very different.
We talked about, so we've talked about Vigilante, we talked about Hardcore, we talked about Eagle. Do you want to talk about Economos or Adebayo next?
You're in charge.
Alright, we'll go Economos.
Alright.
What do you think about his characterization? And we know at the end, and Jim's gonna confirm this, that Eagle gives him a half hug. So there's definitely some type of relationship going on between him and the Eagle. His characterization this season, what do you think about him?
Pretty good. I think he was one of the few characters last season that took a lot of big steps forward in a personality way. So his steps forward this season weren't as prominent as the other 3. Because last year he was literally the laughingstock of everyone. Outside of Harcourt, no one really knew anything about him because they hadn't worked with him, because Harcourt worked with them obviously on the Suicide Squad. So he doesn't have, I realize how much sound that's making, sorry. He doesn't have the personal connection to those characters in season 1 outside of a little bit with Harcourt, which we just talked about her grasp of personal situations. So last season he made a lot of growth. He, made friends with Leota first, then made friends with Chris. He, he was the reason that they became called the 11th Street Kids, because there's a scene where they're in the van together to go do a job, and they're trying to decide which song or which music to play. And there's arguments between Chris and Adebayo and all that about music. And then John in the back just goes, "Do you have any Hanoi Rocks?" And Chris is like, "You know Hanoi Rocks?" And that's when John pulls up his sleeve and shows that he's got a tattoo that says 11th Street Kids, and that's apparently one of their songs. Then him and Chris bond over that. And that was a complete, almost 180 on their interactions at that point. Because up to that point, Chris always made fun of him, mocked him frequently, shit talked him all the time. And then out of the blue, all of a sudden they're chummy because they both like the same band. So he made a lot of his big steps forward last year. This year, I honestly feel like he took some steps back in the. So last year he had a couple of big moments where he had a couple of big kills. And as he's pointed out multiple times in this season, he's generally a chicken shit. But last year, he stepped up. He helped kill a gorilla. He helped kill Peacemaker's dad's clan. Like, he stepped up a couple of times last year when he was needed. This year, he kind of took a back seat in that sense. Like, I don't really remember him doing anything too badass this season. Although I guess he did knock out the eagle hunting guy. But that's about it. Like, this season, from that aspect, it kind of seemed like he took a step backwards in that. But personality-wise, I think most of his growth was last year from a personality standpoint. I don't think he took any steps back in personality, but I don't think he took big steps forward like the other three did necessarily.
Alright, before we get to the main character, that being Peacemaker, we gotta talk about Adebayo, who the only thing I can say about Adebayo is that she's the heart of the group, essentially. And we know James Gunn said in when he has those YouTube videos, that the scene that Adebayo has with Chris at the end, where she's like, you're an idiot, but I still love you. Now, James Gunn said that was a reference to his a dad. Now, I'm not gonna say much about that because I never had one, so I can't say anything regarding that. But so, what did you think about Adebayo? And do you agree she's the heart of the character? I mean, heart of the series.
I actually do. She has held that team together a few times already. I would also say, as far as just raw acting skill goes, I think she's the best actor of the group. I would honestly say, like, if this wasn't a superhero show with the type of stuff that goes on in this show, like if it was a more grounded, serious, not so, comic-y show, I could see her performance potentially being considered for awards. But because it's on Peacemaker, it's kind of just going to be pushed aside. Yeah, she is definitely the heart of the team. She's held them together a few times. She made a mistake in season 1 that really tore the team apart for a bit. But before it was all over, she brought them back together again through her actions. So she has constantly been that person. She's probably the first one in the group that was friends with each of the other members in some capacity. Outside of Chris and Vigilante were friends prior. She was defending Economos to Chris when Chris used to keep calling him different, names to mock him. She stepped up and was telling Chris, like, stop doing that. She had an argument with Harcourt one time when it was uh, when it was found out that thing that she did that kind of broke the team apart. When Harcourt found out about it, they had a bit of words, but then she came like was uh, more closer to her later down the line to that. She's friendly with Chris from the beginning, even though the rest of the team didn't like him. She has constantly been the person that has kept that team together. Now, as far as her overall story this year, I was a little surprised, but I guess I saw it coming when her wife, wasn't in the opening dance sequence. Because she was in season 1. She was part of the opening season 1 dance sequence. I didn't expect them to break up. And by the way, that was possibly the most adult breakup scene I've ever seen on anything. They both, acknowledged they probably won't work together. They acknowledge they love each other, blah, blah, blah. Like, real adults don't have that conversation because it is too adult for the type of thing you're dealing with. It was excellent job on both actresses in that scene. And then, yeah, her scene with Peacemaker in the hotel room when she's like trying to tell him how important he is and all that. She constantly just kept getting home run scenes to show her acting chops. Where they go forward with her, I don't know. I think because she's kind of part of the reason Checkmate exists too, because she had her little spy business that never got off the ground. And that was kind of the opening, steps of getting to Checkmate. Because when Harcourt goes to Sophia or whatever her name was, like, I got a friend that I'd want you to meet. She brings her to Adebayo. So Adebayo already had plans in the work to start Checkmate inside, not necessarily Checkmate, but had plans for something that would evolve into Checkmate. So yeah, she's had a lot of important parts in the show.
Is she the character where if she got terminated, the entire group would fall apart emotionally, or is that Chris?
Maybe the whole group. I think the other people now have a close enough connection to each other to stay together. But it's not impossible. I actually did think this season that we might lose her. When they were on Earth X and she was being chased, I thought there was a chance we may lose her. I even had like a whole scenario played out in my head on how this was going to work out. Obviously this was before we knew that his dad over there wasn't what we all thought he was. I had a scene all played out in my head where his dad or his brother was going to end up ending her, and then Peacemaker was going to have to end them for doing it. That I had that scenario already played out in my head. I'm like, this is where it's going to go, but we didn't get there, luckily. But yeah, I thought we might get there this season.
Alright, so the last character before we discuss the 2026 schedule for Marvel and DC is Peacemaker. Now, his greatest moment, at least to me, was the scene where he says, "It's not your world that's wrong." I forgot the full quote. It's like, "It's not you that's wrong. It's not your world that's wrong. It's me." And oddly enough, the final episode, we didn't get more detail on that. What would you say about his characterization this season?
Again, I think a lot of big steps were made with him in season 1 for character growth. This year there was a lot more still there. And it's interesting because I've seen so many people just take the easy road at nitpicking the storyline about him not noticing the mural on the wall. And I agree. Yeah. How the hell do you not see it? But I also remember several times in my life where I have been so tunnel visioned in on whichever girl I was interested in at that time that stuff around me just wasn't there. Like there could have been a burning car beside me, but if she is there, I'm focusing on her. You understand? Like I can understand missing things like the book that was on the tables. That the mural, a little harder to miss, but I also understand being in that mindset in the past, where nothing else is really around when the person you want is there. So um, I don't really have as much of a problem with that as a lot of other people did. I understand why they have a problem with it, and I don't disagree with it. But I've known from my own mindset how I've been in the past over situations like that. Um, but this season, the big emotional step forward he made this year, besides telling Amelia how he felt, which she obviously, not an idiot, she could tell a million miles away, was with Rick Flag Jr. He got to tell Rick Flag Jr., I'm sorry, I wish I hadn't done it and all that stuff. Even though Flag Sr., I meant. He got to tell him that, and, uh, even though Sr. didn't take it, basically doesn't want to hear what Chris's excuses or anything are, at least Chris took the step forward in saying it. Chris 5 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever Suicide Squad was now, I forgot how long ago that was, probably isn't taking that step forward. Um, him now, he understands he made mistakes in the past. He even had talked about that this season. Like, there are things, he realizes the way he was raised in the past is not right, you know. Um, so yeah, he's a guy that's had a lot of burdens put on him in the past due to the government and his own family. His dad uh, was a terrible person who tried making him into a terrible person, and he had to rise above that. He had to rise above knowing that he killed his brother in the past. Had to rise above knowing that he killed Rick Flag Jr. in the past. Um, he has had a lot of growth. He is probably the most consistent character for growth change. Other characters have had peaks and then maybe it tails off a bit, or it tails off and then peaks. I think his is just he's constantly been growing in different ways throughout both seasons. But now we'll see what happens with him on Salvation. Does he take some steps back? Does he have to learn to kill there again and be a killer to survive and change his mindset? We'll see where that goes.
In regards to your tunnel vision on whether I understand what you're saying, is the only time I've ever had tunnel vision is when I want the people that have hurt me to change in a good way, and that never happens over and over and over. That's the only example I have to compare to yours. In regards to the scene where you said he's like trying to tell the flag guy, I'm sorry for what I did, I can't say anything in regards to that because I have never heard a single apology from the people that have hurt me, so I don't really understand the realm of how apologies work. As for your ending of how salvation might change, you're the first person as I have heard from who has had that theory in regards to how salvation might change Chris.
Well, I don't think many people have thought of it because most people are thinking who's going to end up there, how are they going to get out there, and all that stuff. And I hadn't thought of it till we literally were talking about it right now. Then it came across my mind. So I can see other people haven't thought about it, probably just because I don't think it's a top priority of people thinking about what's going to go on there. Still there? All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry, I'm still there. I'm just getting our next topic on set up.
all right.
Alright, so this will be our final topic. Before we get to that, do you have any last minute stuff that you want to say in regards to Peacemaker season 2?
No, I think I said pretty much everything that is notable. Was there something I was thinking of? Oh, one character we didn't talk about is kind of on the periphery of the group is Judo Master. Because in season 1, Judo Master was a nemesis of the group. He was someone that they tried to kill 2 or 3 times, and he just kept surviving. And now this year, now he's part of the team. I'm glad to see that got resolved in some way, because I never took him as like a villainous villain. He was working for people, thinking he was doing the right thing. And so I'm glad to see they've moved forward with that. And now he's part of the team. But that aside, yeah. All right. Let's see what we
You're
got
right
here.
about Judo Master. I completely forgot about him as well.
You also forgot about Chris's brother and dad, but they're in it for like 7 minutes of screen time. So,
If you want to talk about them, you can.
I mean, the twist that his dad wasn't as bad as everyone thought he was definitely took everybody, myself included, off guard. But that's good story writing. That is, we all knew where it was going, and none of us were right. I like when shows can still surprise you sometimes.
Oh, I actually knew about that twist because the actor on a podcast or an interview or something accidentally hinted at it.
Really? Because I didn't see anyone anywhere ever mention that.
Yeah,
And
he
I was
said,
watching a lot of Peacemaker stuff at the time.
I think it was like, it wasn't on the James Gunn podcast. It was like, I know you've seen Michael Rosenbaum's videos, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was like on that style podcast where you have those little stick thingies with the microphone and they're sitting on couches. It was like that type of like video, and he accidentally hinted at it or gave a lot more information than he should have. So I already knew about that scene.
Interesting.
In regards to future projects, let's start with the DC side. Lanterns. What are you expecting from Lanterns? And since it's like Earth-centric,
all right, I can kind of speed run the DC side. I can probably kind of speed run both sides, but the DC side, I have no expectations of Lanterns, because, believe it or not, I don't think I've ever watched anything Green Lantern related outside of him being in Superman. I never watched the Ryan Reynolds movie. I don't remember any comics or cartoons or anything as a kid with him. So I have no reference outside of, I know like the basics, like he's got a ring and all that stuff. So I don't really have expectations of that show because I don't know what to expect. And same will go with Clayface. I know very little about Clayface. Lego Batman. I don't watch cartoons, so it's not gonna be on my radar. And then Supergirl. We've already seen what her character is like on Superman. We kind of get that she's really annoying. I do not like her character. Maybe the movie will change my mind, but as of the end of Superman, I am not interested in seeing Supergirl. We'll see if the trailers change my mind on that, but right now, I don't want to watch a ditzy, annoying. Uh, I don't have a third thing to say about her. I don't want to watch someone that's got that personality for 2 hours. She's just grating on the nerves. So I kind of did speedrun DC.
Actually, I'll do the same since uh yeah, we're probably gonna be here for like 15 minutes. In regards to lanterns, honestly, I don't know what to expect because, like a lot of people, it being Earth-based and a buddy cop, yeah, it definitely feels like they're gonna have to figure out how to manage budget on that. In regards to Supergirl, out of all these projects, well, at least in regards to the movies, that one is actually the #1 movie I'm excited for next year. Not gonna watch Clayface. I'm not gonna be playing the Batman Lego game. And yeah, that basically is DC. Um, in regards to let's talk about the Spider-Man Noir, where you see the dude in the black suit and brown coat.
Oh, the to the far right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's an Amazon project, and it's starring Nicolas Cage. Now
What?
we've seen him
Come
as
on.
Ghost Rider. We've seen him as Ghost Rider, and he's been in like other. I think he was in a vampire film or something. I don't really remember. Do you think he can pull off
He's been in a
Spider-Man?
lot of things. Sorry, you were saying?
Oh, I don't know if the audio even came through. What do you think about him being a version of Spider-Man? Now, this is set in like the is that a
Weird to
1960s
me.
car? 1950s? You can probably figure it out.
That's earlier than 1950. It's probably like 1920s, 30s, maybe 40s.
Wow, I was way off. But do you think he can
The
pull off
60s,
Spider-Man?
60s, 60s cars would look a little bit more like muscle cars. They wouldn't be driving those like small little get you from point A to point B type cars. So I think this is more like 40s. I mean, I might even go earlier personally because you look at the wardrobe of the person in the passenger's seat. Looks like they're wearing like suspenders, which is a far more like early day look than it would be something in the 50s or 60s. I could be wrong, but it kind of looks at to me. The car is definitely not 60s. It's definitely earlier in the 60s. But
Do you think he
Nicolas
can pull
Cage.
off Spider-Man?
Sorry, what?
Do you think he can pull off being a version of Spider-Man?
It's weird to me. I'll say that. I expect Spider-Man to be someone under 30. Like one of the things people always ask me questions about all the superhero things because of the fact I've covered the Arrowverse for so long, but I don't know the lore and history of most characters. I only know what I've seen on TV and a few movies, but to me, Spider-Man has always been a younger character, teenagers to early 20s. So someone in their 50s or 60s, I don't even know how old Nick Cage is now, doesn't, yeah, it's weird to me. How about you?
Uh, I mean, he pulled off Ghost Rider, so I assume with time, an actor can improve their skill. So he'd basically be like he'd be able to pull it off. Now, obviously, it's a stunt person inside the suit because, yeah, I don't think someone of his age would be like doing backflips and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Did you watch the Wonder Man trailer over on the
I
Marvel
don't even
side?
know. I don't even know what it is. Wonder
It's
Man
like guy who's like in Hollywood and he wants to be a superhero, something along those lines.
doesn't sound familiar to me. Like I see the occasional trailer to things I'm not even like caring about because I watch this one streamer and he'll check out trailers on his stream from time to time. So I see things I don't even know about. Um, I'm just looking at it the first few seconds to see if it looks familiar to me. Nope, I've definitely never seen this. No.
Now, did you watch Daredevil Born Again Season 1?
Yes, I did.
Uh, now, have you seen the set photos?
I have seen a couple. I've seen him like coming out of the water or something. He's got the full Daredevil suit now. Um, have I seen anything else besides those? Um, I don't think so.
Are you excited for Season 2?
Yes, yes. Daredevil, even though Daredevil Born Again, I think everyone agrees on this, is not quite the same as the original Daredevil. It was still very, very good. Difference is, is very, very good versus very, 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 very good. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Now, are you familiar with the Punisher special that's going to happen next year?
I'm aware it's coming. I don't know anything about it. I mean, obviously, we know based on how Daredevil Born Again ends that he's going to get out of there. So I realize this is probably going to be a continuation of that point, but I have no idea what it's about. I don't know how it rolls together with any of the other projects. I don't know if he's coming back into Daredevil Born Again. It would make sense he would, but I don't know. I actually don't know any of the details about it.
The Punisher special, okay, yeah, it's apparently happening. I thought it was before Daredevil Born Again Season 2, but according to the schedule, it's after, so it'd be, uh, his series would end and go into, Spider-Man Brand New Day. I don't know if you've seen the set photo
So,
regarding that.
one question: where did you get the scheduled dates from? Do you remember?
I saw it on a random YouTube community post. No idea who the person was.
Okay, so this could be like their assumption on it or something. Because
No,
I
they
too also,
released it.
I also think I remember hearing that Punisher was coming out before Daredevil, but I also could be wrong.
Give me a second. I should actually check this right now.
Okay, while you do that, I'll run through the rest because I don't think there's much of anything else on here that I know much about. X-Men '97. I never watched the first season. What's this next one say? Oh, you took the list down. I cannot continue. All right.
Okay, so I don't have a release date for Punisher. I thought I did. I have a release date for Daredevil, just not Punisher. I have a release date for
Okay.
a Brand New Day.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I interrupted you. You were going through a list.
Yeah, I was looking at your list and then you took it down off the screen for a second, so I couldn't finish. X-Men '97. I never watched season 1, so I don't know anything about it, so I can't give any insight into that. What's the next one down from there? It looks like it says Spider-Man, but there's a Spider-Man underneath that.
Oh, that is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which had a season 1.
Okay,
And
I
now
don't know
season
anything about that. I don't know anything about either of the Spider-Man projects that are showed. One looks like a cartoon, so I'm assuming that's probably a cartoon.
2. Wait, but you do
Um,
know about Brand New Day, right? That's the movie, Tom Holland.
I know there was a Spider-Man movie coming. I didn't know it was in this upcoming year, so I guess I did know. I just didn't know it was coming so soon.
Originally it was planned to be after Doomsday, and they changed it to happening before Doomsday. Now, based on the set photos, Punisher will have a sidekick. Um, Spider-Man and Punisher will team up against Department of Damage Control. Hulk is apparently having an involvement in that, and that's basically like about it that we know.
Okay. So
Have
then
you heard about Vision Quest?
I have not.
Okay, so
Is that
now
just
I'll say
Vision?
so.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
fine.
It's
Yeah, that's
his character isn't someone that I'm just like, oh wow, I need more. So I don't know if I'll see it.
well, since you're obviously more an expert than me in regards to like how shows work, because you see more shows than me, yeah, more movies. How exactly would you do a series? How would a series work when your main character is a robot, and yet we're gonna see humanoid versions of robots throughout the MCU? Is that gonna be
Hmm.
all in his head, or how would that even work?
I would have no idea because I don't know enough about the character to give a guesstimate on it. I really, it's out of my knowledge bubble. You have to wait
Alright,
until you see a trailer.
that's the thing, there was a trailer.
Oh,
It was just not to the public.
okay. You have to wait for a trailer that's available to the public.
The final topic before obviously we say the last minute stuff. Avengers Doomsday. Now, I know you follow MCU projects, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So, Avengers Doomsday, even though they technically renamed Thunderbolts as the new Avengers, Doomsday is like the legit full-on Avengers movie we've had since Endgame. Do you
Yeah, that's the one
think?
that they did the rollout of like 1 billion chairs for, right?
Yeah, I think it was like
When they announced
26
the
or 42
cast.
chairs.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on Avengers Doomsday based on what we've seen post Endgame? Do you think it's too early, too late? Do you think they're gonna handle it in a good way based on how they've handled post Endgame?
I say this with not trying to cop out of it, but honestly, I don't know. Um, I have thoughts on doing it, but those are more on the individuality of Robert Downey Jr. Um, if his character is, some variation of Tony Stark, okay, I can buy it. But if I'm supposed to suddenly believe a guy that looks like Tony Stark is playing a character named Fred Johnson, like I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. You've already got Tony Stark in this world. You can't have a guy that looks exactly like him be someone different. So I'm a little hesitant on that. I'm a little hesitant of that this is going to not be a Tony Stark variant, and it's going to really mess with people understanding what it's about, including me.
Now,
As far as the overall idea of it, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's going to have lots of cameos from all those people that were in the chairs. So yeah.
now you saw Thunderbolts, right? I think you even tweeted about
Yes.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
So you know at the end that it was like a 14-month time gap, and was it Black Widow or maybe Green Widow since she wears green? She talked about how Sam Wilson's suing them, which means 14 months later, Sam still does not have his Avengers. And yet in Doomsday, we're supposed to have an Avengers team, a X-Men team, a Fantastic Four team, a Thunderbolts team, who knows what other team, and probably cameos as well. Do you think all those people, all those actors, all those actresses will result in the movie like imploding on itself? Because we've seen with Crisis on Infinite Earths, that's DC side, that all the cameos hurt the crossover. Do you think Doomsday will have issues regarding too many casting?
It's always a problem that it could happen. I mean, Avengers Endgame had 100 people in it, and there was no complaints about that. So it can be done. But it is possible. Like because it's a lot of high profile people that probably. I think part of the reason why some of those people are there is because like the chairs were there was because they know, okay, we can get so and so for 4 days of filming, which is fine. We only need them for a 2-minute scene, like stuff like that, right? So they're not going to be core parts of the movie. They're literally there for a cameo appearance, and we won't see them again for the rest of the movie. Like perfect, like Crisis on Infinite Earths on the Arrowverse, when Burt Ward or Lucifer or Huntress came in. They were in, gone, never came back to the series in any way, shape, or form at any other point. They were there for one scene, 2 scenes tops, and we're done. It'll kind of be that way with this, probably with like half of that roster.
One final question before we wrap things up.
Yep.
And you definitely could answer this. So let's say there's a scene where you have a character like War Machine. Now his suit is all CGI. Except we never see Don Cheadle in it. We just see him flying in the back and he's battling out. And then his screen time is over. We don't know what happens to him for the rest of the movie. Now, Don Cheadle plays War Machine. So if you have the character and it's just like all CGI and you never actually see Don Cheadle, do you have to pay Don Cheadle?
Well, that wouldn't be Don Cheadle. That wouldn't be Don Cheadle then. You would just be casting a generic stunt double. If Don Cheadle's chair was there, Don Cheadle has lines in the movie. He's not there to just like be a CGI something, He is there to physically show up to set, say a line or two, do some type of movement, and then go home.
Do you think that is moral-wise wrong if they go that path, and then in an interview he's asked about his character and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, I was never in the movie.
Well, then he'd just be lying to people. If they already announced he's cast in it, like if his name was on one of those chairs, because I don't remember all the chairs. If his name was on one of the chairs, he's in the movie.
No, I mean the route where they use his character, but you never see Don Cheadle. You just see War Machine battling out in the back, and he's just CGI.
Then you wouldn't hire Don Cheadle. You would hire a generic stiff that you can throw in that costume. You don't hire the guy that's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars a day. You hire a guy that you can get for $100 an hour instead of a guy that's $5,000 an hour. Like, you just don't do it. You have some random stiff in that outfit playing War Machine, and he gets an IMDb credit. Like, Don Cheadle is showing up to say lines, probably to have his face show up at some point, and make some type of movement. They could get away with him just saying lines. He could just do voice work for the character and someone else plays the physical version. That's still him doing, work on the movie. But if his name is on a chair, he is going to be in it in some way, shape, or form.
The next time, now, do you watch Stranger Things?
No, I haven't watched it since like season 2 or 3.
Okay, so the next possible time where you would appear as a guest would be if we do some type of stream where we cover Super Bowl content, as in like DC and Marvel trailers, right? That's probably sometime next year.
Idea.
Probably next time appear.
I have no idea.
Before you say where people can find you, once again, thank you for showing up. I think my audience appreciates that there's actually like a conversation going on instead of me going through just me talking like for an hour because I'm terrible at it. So yeah, I always appreciate when you can find time to help out a small YouTuber who has only little over 100 subscribers. Yeah, I reached the 100 mark.
I
Tell
do
us
see
where
that.
people can find you and what you might be up to next.
Yeah, so I mean, my name on the screen here is the name I am on practically every social media platform there is: YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram. I have a TikTok, but I haven't used it in like a year. Facebook, everything. My website, same name. Lately, what have I done? I've covered a few things. I just last night, like I said, I don't know if I said it to you or someone else. Sorry, that I went to go see a movie. They did Carrie, the 1976 version, and they're doing a Carrie TV show in 2026. Mike Flanagan, who has done a lot of projects lately, is in charge of it, and he brought the cast from that Carrie to the screening to intro the movie. So I covered that last night, got autographs, and covered the intro speech. I've actually just posted the video this afternoon of that intro. I've had a couple of other projects in town, but they're nothing spectacular. Like there's a movie or TV series called The Altruist here, which is about that banker fraudster Sam Bankman-Fried. So there's been a couple of things that have like middling amounts of success. Oh, we also have a movie here filming right now called, its working title is Goliath, but its official name is The Social Reckoning, which is the follow-up to The Social Network, which was that Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Zuckerberg movie. The follow-up to that is being filmed here right now. I have footage of that I got to release in the next couple of days before I forget. But there's not much here going on these days that I'm out every day for. It's like I'll take a chance on this once in a while and go check out that once in a while. There's not much here that I'm like, oh, I'm going to every set for it like there was in the good old days.
Uh, I'll, like when the stream's done, I'll post the link to your channel in the comment section. Can my viewers, if they also are subscribed to your channel, can they expect you to stream anytime soon?
That comes more when I feel I have something to stream about. Again, like I am kind of sort of out on the loop when it comes to the superhero stuff, which is where most of my viewers came from, was the superhero shows. We don't have any superhero shows here filming these days, so I don't have much to add. So I don't stream nearly as often. Like I think I've streamed maybe like 4 times this year. I don't know. It's not often. Let me check.
I think you, did you watch Tron Ares? What did you think about that?
I did not watch it.
Oh, you
I
didn't watch it?
saw I saw half of it get filmed, so I technically have watched it. But I did not go to the theater to watch it.
Alright, do you have any, last minute stuff before
Actually, I've streamed 7 times this year.
well,
No, I think I've said everything that needs to be said.
alright, good night and, have a great week.
All right,
Would love to have you on many more streams.
all right. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. Okay, everyone, that was the, latest stream. I have the next stream. I mean, you can expect Stranger Things reactions from me. That's later in the year. I'll, I don't know if I'll do it even like a stream regarding Stranger Things. Again, that's if there even is a guest available who also watches Stranger Things. Uh, Depending on how much news there is on Marvel and DC, I will try to get Canadagraphs on another stream. Uh, Next possible times you can possibly see him appear again as a guest is the Super Bowl, which is in February, or something like Lanterns or Supergirl movie, like a stream on discussing that, or Man of Tomorrow, Avengers Doomsday, things like that. If you watch this live, thank you for watching. If you're watching this, when this gets, like, uploaded to YouTube, then if you're watching this in the morning, have a good morning. If you're watching this in the evening, have a good evening. If you're watching this at